Hi, ladies and gentlemen. We are looking at notes 4.4, which are on quadratic relations of the form y equals x squared plus k and y equals x minus h squared. So on page 9, it says we're going to look at graphing y equals x squared plus k when k is positive. So we're going to complete the table of values and use a different color to sketch the graph of each parabola on the axes. So right here we have our standard function, or excuse me, our standard parabola, where it's going to say y equals x squared. Now I want you guys to use Desmos, and we are going to create table values to figure out what happens when y equals x squared plus 2. So I'm going to delete out this x right here, and then under y1 right here, I'm going to delete the whole y1, and I'm going to type in x squared right here plus 2. Okay, and I want to know what happens when x is -4, when x is -3, -2, -1, 0, all the way to +4. So we're going to write down all of these values right here as coordinates. So my first coordinate here is going to say -4, 18. Okay, so let's go ahead and write that in. So we're going to say this is -4, 18 right here. So we'll say -4, 18. Our next coordinate is going to be -3, 11. Our next one is going to be -2, 6. And you're going to keep going with the coordinates that we have here. Please fill in the rest and then come back to me to see how you did. So these are the values that you should have gotten here, okay? And now we're going to do the same thing, but instead of x squared plus 2, we're going to say x squared plus 4. So our first coordinate that we have here is -4, 20, okay? And then we have -3, 13. So go ahead and fill in that information. We've got -4, 20. Right here we've got -3, 13, and we're going to keep going from there. So fill in all of these values that you have here in your chart right here, please. Now that we have all of our coordinates, we need to graph out all of our values. So -4, 18, we don't have enough room for -4, 18 on our graph. It goes a little bit off, but we can still kind of show it. So we'll just show -4, 18 up here. Then we have -3, 11. So I'm going to go to the left 3 and up 11, and I'm going to put my coordinate there. My next coordinate is -2, 6. So I'm going to go to the left 2 and up 6, and that's where my new coordinate is going to be. I have -1, 3. So I'm going to go to the left 1 and up 3. Then I have 0, 2. So I'm going to stay on the y-axis, and I'm going to go up 2. And then it's symmetrical, so I'm going to go to the right 1 and up 3. All of these values are reflected in the y-axis. So I'm just going to keep graphing out all of these values, and I can see my parabola right here. Okay, when you're done with this parabola, I would like for you to please complete the next parabola as well, and then we'll talk about some observations that we have seen in this example here. Okay. So if you take a look at what's happening here, the question here says, observation, how do the graphs of y equal x squared plus 2 and y equals x squared plus 4 differ from the standard graph? They look exactly the same. They're not wider or narrower like they were before, but they've just been shifted up. Okay, so they've just been moved up right here. So we're going to just say right here that the graphs look the same, they're just shifted up. Okay, so once you get that down, I'd like for you to please do the same thing right here for x squared plus k. I want you to fill in all of the values that we have here, and then I'm going to have you graph it all out, and I will check to make sure you have all of this stuff, and then we're going to fill in our observation after you guys are done with that. Okay? So if you take a look right here, our black graph right here is y equals x squared. This is the standard position. Y equals x squared minus 3 is this blue graph right here. And y equals x squared minus 5 is this red graph right here. So the graph has shifted down instead of shifting up. So right here, what we can say is, again, the graphs look the same, except it's just shifted down instead of shifting up. And that should make sense to you because this says -3 and -5 as opposed to adding a number. Okay, so the graphs look the same, just shifted down. Okay, all right, so our conclusion here that we can say is that, let me just fix this right here for you guys, is that the value of k determines the vertical translation of the parabola. And by translation, I just mean the vertical shift. So right here, we're going to say the vertical translation, and by translation, we mean shift. Okay? So our graph is either moving up or it's moving down. How do we know if it's moving up or down? If k is positive, the parabola shifts up k units, and if k is negative, the parabola shifts down k units. Okay? So fill in those blanks for me, please, right here. We're going to say if it shifts, if it's positive, it shifts up. If it's negative, it's going to shift down. Okay? And that's what we need to know about k. All right, now we need to know what's going to happen if we have h. So what I would like for you to do, please, notice that the x values are different here when we do this, is we're going to open up Desmos again, and we are going to make a chart with all of these values here. So we have x starts at -6, so we're going to fill in -6, -5, -4, all the way up to +2. And this time, the +2 is inside of the brackets. So you have to make sure you put it inside of the brackets here. And then we're going to write down what our coordinates are. So our first coordinate that we have here is -6, 16. So I'd like for you to please fill in -6, 16. And then our next coordinate that we have is -5, 9. Then we have -4, 4. Then we have -3, 1, -2, 0. And then just keep going, fill in the rest of your values. And this is what our table of values is going to look like. Now that we've done that, I would like for you to please graph out each one of these coordinates. Okay, so if my coordinate is -6, 16, I'm going to go to the left 6 and up 16, and I'm going to put a dot there. Okay, -5, 9, I'm going to go to the left 5 and up 9 right here. -4, 4, I'm going to put my coordinate here. -3, 1 to the left 3 and up 1. -2, 0 is going to be right here. -1, 1 is right here. And then we've got 0, 4 and 1, 9. And lastly, we have 2, 16. Now all we have to do is connect our dots. And this right here is going to be this parabola. Okay, and don't forget to write the equation of the parabola next to the line. Okay, so y equals, we're going to say x plus 2 squared. Okay, all right, so now let's do the same thing with x plus 3 squared. So this time we want to start at -7 instead of at -6. So we'll have -7, -6, all the way down. I'm just going to delete all of these values right here. -5, -4, -3 until we get to +1. And up here, we're going to say x plus 3 in brackets squared. Don't forget to put it in brackets because otherwise it'll throw your whole answer off. And we're going to fill in all of these values that we have here. So we've got 16, 9. Just fill them all in. So once we have all of these numbers filled in, we can just go ahead and graph out all of those coordinates right here. So -7, 16 means I'm going to go to the left 7 and up 16. -6, 9 means I'm going to go to the left 6 and up 9. So on and so forth. As always, you can pause the video if you need a moment to catch up. Connect the dots as best as you can with a nice smooth curve. Label the equation of the parabola. So if you noticed right here, the standard equation is the black one right here, the black parabola that we have here. And it says, how do the graphs of y equals x plus 2 all of it squared and y equals x plus 3 quantity all of it squared differ from the standard graph? And we can figure out that it's different because this time it didn't go up or down, it actually moved to the left. So if it's a positive number here, we're going to actually go to the left. It's the opposite direction when we're doing our horizontal shifts. Okay, so we would say here that the graph shifts to the left. Okay, all right, so what I would like for you to do, please, is complete the bottom half of this page right here and fill in your observation and then come back to me to see how you did. So if you notice right here, the black graph, again, is the standard parabola. The red graph right here represents y equals x minus 2 squared, and the blue graph represents y equals, the red one is y equals x minus 1 squared, and the blue one represents y equals x minus 3 squared. So if you notice, the red one shifted 1 unit to the right, and the blue one shifted 3 units to the right. So when it's the when we're subtracting a value inside of the brackets, then we're actually going to the right. So here we're going to say the parabola shifted to the right. Okay, so based on that, we can conclude that the value of h determines the horizontal translation. In other words, the horizontal shift. Okay, and if h is positive, then it's going to shift what we would expect the opposite way. So normally if we see it as positive, we would think it would go to the right, but it's actually going to the left by h units right here. So this right here should say h units, not k units. Sorry about that. So if you guys could fix this k to an h, please. And then if it is negative, then it's going to shift to the right by h units. Okay, and that's all we need to know for this lesson. Let me know if you have any questions. And make sure that you fill in all of these blanks right here because I will be checking that when I check your notes. All right, have a great day.